shut that poll and get ready to introduce Julie. All right. Again, my name is Phil Winters. I'm the Transportation Demand Management Program Director here at CUTR. And one of my key staff people is Julie Bond. And Julie is a Senior Research Associate here at the Center for Urban Transportation Research at the University of South Florida. She serves as Program Manager for Best Workplaces for Commuters, and she also leads WalkWise Tampa Bay and has co-founded the Tampa Bay Cycle program. Prior to joining CUTR, Julie worked for the Utah Transit Authority in Salt Lake City, where she effectively created and marketed various transportation programs. She is a American League of American Bicyclists League Cycling Instructor, LCI, and she also commutes daily by bicycle. So she's working on a lot of different types of projects, obviously. And with that, let me turn it over to Julie so she can talk about WalkWise.
Okay, thank you, Phil, for that introduction. And I just wanted to comment that I just received my League Cycling Instructor certification last weekend. So it was a great weekend and very excited about that. So I really do enjoy my work, and I have a true passion, as most people who know me, for bicycle and pedestrian projects. And today I'm going to share one of the projects I work on, which is WalkWise Tampa Bay. And this project really is important locally to all of us. It's important for the state of Florida, and it's also very important nationally. Okay, so today's presentation, which I hope you'll enjoy, is going to follow a slightly different format than you may be used to from previous web conferences. So I'm going to give an introduction for WalkWise, and then I'm going to actually provide the WalkWise presentation to you that I provide through our Grassroots effort. And then, so after today's presentation, I'll go over the objectives. You as an attendee should be able to describe the Grassroots WalkWise Pedestrian Safety Campaign. You should be able to understand why pedestrian fatalities and crashes are high in Florida. You'll know the WalkWise steps for pedestrian safety. And also, you should be able to identify pedestrian behavior resulting in fatalities. So that's an overview and some objectives for today's presentation. Okay, so you may be wondering, what is WalkWise Tampa Bay? Or you may have heard about it, or you may have actually been to one of our presentations. So whichever, I'm going to give you a brief explanation of what it actually is. WalkWise Tampa Bay is a grassroots effort providing pedestrian safety education to people living in or visiting in 3 counties. Those 3 counties in District 7 are Hillsborough, Pinellas, and Pasco counties. WalkWise Tampa Bay is managed by us, the Center for Urban Transportation Research at USF, and the funding comes from FDOT District 7, our local FDOT office. Okay, so, you know, what is the problem? Why did we start WalkWise Tampa Bay? Well, nationally, Florida has the highest pedestrian fatality rate per 100,000 people. Now, if you look at this graph, this was just pulled from some recently released 2009 data from NHTSA, and it's from their traffic safety facts. And as you can see, as you look at this, Florida was higher than other warm weather large states. A lot of people ask me, you know, is it because we're a warm weather state that we have this status? So on the graph, I charted out some of the other large warm weather states. So as you can see, Florida's rate per 100,000 was about 2.51. California, another very large state, was 1.52. Georgia, 1.53. New York, 1.57, and Texas, 1.39. So this gives you an idea of nationally how we rank. We've maintained this status year after year. And so, you know, it is a problem, and we do need to work to solve this problem. We don't want to be recognized nationally as having the highest pedestrian fatality rate per capita per 100,000 people. Okay, so now the first question I'm asked if I do a media interview, or sometimes when I go out to give the presentation, is why are pedestrian fatalities and injuries high in Florida, right? You may be all thinking about, why do we have this problem? Well, It's somewhat of a difficult question to answer because there are many reasons, and each crash is different. But here are a few of the top reasons that we've identified. Alcohol. Some of you may not realize that alcohol is involved, and it's not just the driver, it's the pedestrian. Both the pedestrian and drivers, alcohol has a high percentage of involvement in these fatalities and injuries. Roadways. Those of you from Florida, you drive, you bike, you walk on our roadways. We know they're built for high speeds, high-speed traffic over 40 miles per hour. And so really, if we look at it, our roadway network is designed to move vehicular traffic relatively long distances across a mostly suburban area, right? As such, that many roadways are designed to accommodate high traffic volumes. And if their speed's in excess of 40 miles per hour, that's the speed at which most pedestrian crashes are fatal. So these roadways are challenging to cross at unsignalized locations, and to accommodate heavy traffic demands, many signalized intersections are built with, I know many of you have noticed this, multiple turn lanes, right? And that also allows for higher speed right turns, which can really create a safety challenge for pedestrians. And the third one, and we know this, it's pedestrian and driver behavior, right? We all share the responsibility on our roadways, and sometimes we see bad pedestrian behavior and bad driver behavior. Aggressive or destructive drivers is a problem on our roadways. A lot of times we see pedestrians who aren't obeying the laws. You know, how many times do you see the pedestrian darting down in traffic? It may be during the night. They may have dark clothing on. They may be crossing mid-block on high-speed streets because they don't want to walk all the way down to the crosswalk. So these are the three reasons we've identified, top reasons why our fatalities and injuries are high in Florida. Okay, FDOT District 7 has a 5-year goal for pedestrian safety. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit. And their goal is to reduce pedestrian fatalities by 20% by 2015, which is going to save 15 lives per year. The photo you're looking at is from one of our WalkWise presentations that we just gave recently, a group of kind of diverse people that we went out and talked to, I believe, just last week. So also, it's important to know that the FDOT Safety Office goals are also to decrease the frequency rate and severity of and potential for crashes involving motor vehicles, pedestrians, and of course bicyclists on our public roads in Florida. And they're going to do that through the implementation of a comprehensive safety program involving engineering, enforcement, education, and emergency services. Now, you may be wondering, what's going on. The total number of crashes has been decreasing for the past 5 years. There were 11% fewer crashes in 2009 compared to 2005, and there has been a downward trend in fatal crashes. We don't have the results for 2010 yet, but in 2009 there were 16% fewer crashes than there were in 2005. So the 2010 information should be released in the next couple of months for our district and also for the state of Florida, so you can watch for those to be released soon. Okay, so getting back now to WalkWise. WalkWise Tampa Bay, as I said, is a grassroots initiative, and we're going to try to reach as many people through a interactive educational PowerPoint presentation. It's provided by a trained presenter, and it's also tailored to the needs of specific groups or individuals. And I'll talk more, of course, about this presentation. Our goals, some of you may be looking at that, and when we first were creating this project, a lot of people said to me, oh my gosh, 400 presentations, that's in a year, that's a huge amount, you'll never meet that. But we have been very successful so far with the campaign. It started on July 1st of last year, and our goal is to provide a minimum of 400 presentations to a minimum of 4,000 people. Now, it is a grassroots effort, and we've targeted the presentations along high crash corridors. And so as a grassroots effort, we're really getting out and talking to everyone, and then we're asking them to spread the word and to tell everyone about the importance of pedestrian safety, to talk about what WalkWise is doing. and to really spread the word. Okay. It is a comprehensive, FDOT District 7 does have a really incredible comprehensive safety program going. WalkWise Tampa Bay, you should remember, is just one of the components of the overall pedestrian safety campaign that they have going. They do follow the 4 E's, and that is for engineering, education, enforcement, and emergency medical services. And so those are the 4 E's that they have through their, they use those where appropriate, and applies really a multidisciplined approach to improving pedestrian safety. So again, my component is education, and it's just one part of their overall plan. It's a very innovative grassroots approach to really getting out and talking to everyone in our area. Okay, I mentioned that we're targeting our presentations along high crash corridors in Pinellas, Pasco, and Hillsborough counties. And so I just wanted to show you this map. These are available if you go to our WalkWiseTampaBay.com website, and you can look at all the different counties and where the high crashes occurred. So as you can see in the red, those are what have been identified as the high crash corridors. You can see from each of the green dots, those are a crash. And so we look at these maps, and then we try to really get out to these locations and to talk to businesses and to individuals along the high crash corridors. The first thing in setting up the program was to create an effective team, because as you saw on the prior slide, we have to give a minimum of 400 presentations, and that's a lot of work. That's a lot of presentations. So one of my top responsibilities was I needed to create a really effective team. I couldn't have people going out there and talking about pedestrian safety who really weren't committed or passionate, because with any grassroots effort, that's what you need to make it a success. So some of the qualifications that I looked at as I was establishing this team were I wanted them to be passionate about pedestrian safety. I'm very passionate about pedestrian safety, and I feel when I go out and talk to people, they really listen to me. They can feel my passion. So I wanted all my presenters to really have that passion also, and to be very knowledgeable. They had to have the ability to speak to large or small groups. We've given these presentations. You can see from the photos we've given them to groups as large as 200 to 300. We've given them to small groups of 5 people. The top photo shows one of my presenters, Jason Jackman. He's with a group of senior citizens. And then also Jessica Brenner, one of my presenters, she had just given a presentation to a Rotary Club, and we take photos at every event we go to, because we really want to document what we're doing and everyone that we see. So we have a lot of photos that are all posted on our website. Also, they must be able to deal with diverse groups. As you'll see throughout the presentation, we go to homeless shelters, we go to parks, bus stops, we go everywhere, to every group possible, and so the presenters had to be comfortable presenting to diverse groups. They also had to travel to locations around the 3 counties and work nights and weekends, because in order to really reach our public, our target market, we had to take advantage of every opportunity we have, and a lot of those, of course, we go to a lot of different events. They're going to happen on nights and weekends. And then also we did a train the trainer session. So each one of these presenters had to attend a train the trainer session. They had to be comfortable. They did a lot of practice sessions. And so they're doing really a great job. Jason and Jessica, of course, are pedestrian, very passionate about pedestrian and bicycle issues. And so they do a great job. I get a lot of really great letters back from people who have seen their presentations. And that shows the success when you actually have someone sit down and send you a letter or send you an email or even call you and say, I just saw this great presentation and I want to have them come to my group. And so we've been getting a lot of referrals, and I like it is just absolutely amazing to see what's happening and the conversations that have evolved. So that's critical for anyone looking at doing a campaign like this. You have to create an effective team. And we kind of look at, have laptop will travel, or we should say have projector will travel, because that's what we find is one of the missing links as we go out. You need to have your equipment, because a lot of these groups just don't have it. They call you up, they want you to come, and they don't have any type of audio-visual. So with the contract, with the project, we did purchase projectors, we purchased laptops, we purchased an audience response system, and we use that for select groups. So we actually go out and we have an audience response system where they can answer their questions, and we can see their feedback on the screen. If it's not appropriate for the audience response system, then we do a show of hands. So either way, it really creates an interactive environment. But we've had some great successes in making people comfortable and getting the discussion going. As you can see, Jessica's giving this presentation. She's got the projector and the laptop. She's, asking them to raise their hand. So that's a big part of this. Also, if the location is not appropriate for a laptop or projector or PowerPoint presentation, we've created a WalkWise booklet, and it has all the slides in a hard copy. So what we do is we actually sit down. We'll even sit down with individuals, and we'll walk them through the WalkWise safety steps. You're going to see this presentation in a few minutes. We walk them through it. We have them take the pledge. So we're really reaching out and giving group presentations, individual presentations, whatever it takes to talk to everyone that we can. So after they attend the session, they take the pledge. You may have noticed in some of the presentation, they all have this reflective red or yellow backpack. So they do get a giveaway, and that's been very popular. They're retro-reflective backpacks. We hope they use them for their safety. We have reflective bands. We have bookmarks that we've created. And we have all kinds of safety handouts. We have posters that they can put up in their lunchrooms, or businesses have been putting these up. So we have just really a great, assortment of things that are going to provide long-term education as we go out there. We'll even hang the posters for them in their stores. So we've tried to be as creative as we can to help people and just to get the word out. Okay, so this just provides a little bit of information on what's been going on with the presentations. I commented that when I told people I was going to do 400, the response is always, wow, that's a lot. And really, to be honest, it takes a lot of work and time to book these presentations. It takes a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls, a lot of referrals, personal contacts. It's very time-consuming to book these presentations. We've been successful with it, but it takes a lot of commitment and a lot of time to book 400-plus presentations. So this contract ends at the end of June, and we're right on track to exceed that number. We have provided over 300 presentations to date. I'm just working on the final March report, but we're right on schedule. We're a little bit above schedule, and we're going to reach our goals for the 400-plus presentation. I really think we're going to go over that amount. As far as sign-ins go, we've already exceeded the goal of 4,000. Right now on our website, we have 5,000 ambassadors listed on the website, and those are just people who have actually signed a sign-in sheet. We take a sign-in sheet around. We do ask for an email address. They don't have to give an email address if they're not comfortable, and they don't have to sign the sign-in sheet if they're not comfortable. So this only is showing you the attendees that signed in. So we've reached quite a few more than 5,000, because we do have individuals who aren't comfortable signing their name, giving their email address. We can even allow they can sign their name without an email address, but some people just don't want to give their name. We have no problem with that, because we want to reach as many people as we can with our safety message. So to date, the people who have wanted their name on the website, we have over 5,000 plus people who are listed, who have actually signed in and stated they want their name listed as a WalkWise ambassador. Okay, so of course with any project, you have all kinds of other duties. So to give you an idea of what this took to set this up, we created our own website. We chose WalkWiseTampaBay.com. We create, we maintain, and we update that website. You can go there and find a lot of great information. We also created a Facebook page. You can go in and please like our page if you want to. We have photos that we post and information on things that are happening around the counties. I also did a voiceover for the PowerPoint presentation. So if If someone requests that they want to watch the presentation just by themselves, they can request that for me. I document that I sent it to them, and they can sit through that on their own and just listen to the 15-minute presentation as a voiceover. Advertising was another component of this contract. We do have restroom advertising. I don't know if many of you have heard of that, but throughout the 3 counties, we chose different restaurants. It's mostly restaurants, and we have a restroom ad right inside the restroom. So it's a message. It's one of our safety messages, and we've rotated those out over the year 6 times for 6 different messages. We focused along Gulf Boulevard and along the high crash corridors to actually place these ads in the restrooms. A lot of them are bars because we wanted to target the correct population, which, alcohol is such an issue. So we did utilize restroom ads as part of our campaign. We have posters, as I said, that we put in any type of establishment that will let us hang them. We give out flyers for events, so it's a pretty big effort. Also, I submit monthly reports, so I document exactly where we went, how many people attended, and that's how we are working towards our goal every month. So some paperwork involved there. Submit that to District 7. And then also at the end, after June, we'll do a year-end report that will put together exactly what we did and accomplished during this year. Media appearances, you're wondering why that's all blurry. I just did a shot from a Studio 10 visit. That's Jason Jackman and I. We actually went out to Studio 10 and did a media appearance. We have a lot of reporters calling us. Many times the District 7 public relations person will talk to them, or sometimes they will talk to us. And District 7 did go out and do one of these appearances. They talked a little bit about a different subject than we did. We specifically talked about WalkWise. You can see the pedestrian flag there, the bags. So that was a great experience, and so that is included. We do some media appearances. I just wanted to show you, this is from our WalkWise website, and you heard me talking about our ambassador list. You can see number 5,000 there, down to about 4,900. You can go to the website, click on ambassadors. It's a drop-down list in 1,000, so you can look through the names. You can do a search if you're looking for someone specific. And after today, if you'd like your name there, after you take the pledge, we'll also include your names on. Your name could be on the website. You can see to the right. You can find us on Facebook easily by going to the website. You can just click on Facebook if you have a Facebook account, and then like our WalkWise Facebook. As you can see, there's some photos from some recent presentations. People have their reflective backpacks. They look happy. They've just learned lots of good information. This was actually at a thrift store we went to. So we are, as I said, reaching out to multiple places and diverse audiences. Here's another shot from our Facebook page. Lots of great photos of people taking the pledge and learning about pedestrian safety. Okay, so I know you all are excited to hear the actual presentation that we give, so I'm going to go ahead and go into the presentation. Now, it's a little bit different doing it via live meeting. When I'm out and my presenters are out, we do it 2 ways. We ask the questions via raising their hands, and on the slide will come up, and then the correct answer comes up, or we will use our audience response system, which is fun, the clicker system. So they're clicking on their answer as a group. No one knows who clicked right or wrong, and then it's posted immediately, so we can see, kind of measure their, what they know, and then we do a little post test at the end. So I'm going to do that for you here, but I had to put these all into the regular polls. So we're going to go ahead and start the presentation, and I'm going to go ahead and just give it, pretty similar to what I do when I'm out and about. So we start out with this initial slide, and I'll go into the presentation with a few variations. So we start out, we welcome everyone to WalkWise Tampa Bay. This is a program developed and managed by the Center for Urban Transportation Research at the University of South Florida, with funding provided by the Florida Department of Transportation District 7. WalkWise Tampa Bay is a grassroots initiative providing innovative pedestrian safety education to the Tampa Bay community. We're all pedestrians at some point during our day, right? When walking through a parking lot after shopping, walking to a vehicle, for exercise, or simply to enjoy a beautiful Florida day, we're all pedestrians. Okay, so before we begin talking about pedestrian safety, we're going to test your knowledge. Okay, so is everyone ready to participate? Because we're going to test your knowledge and see what you know. Okay, first, which state has the #1 pedestrian fatality rate and receives national attention for this status? Now, I don't think anyone's going to miss this, because you have to remember when I'm giving this presentation, I don't go through what I did in the information, so this was a giveaway for all of you. So I'm going to expect that everyone's going to get this one right. Now, this is missed quite a bit when I'm out giving this. A lot of people choose California or New York or even Texas. Okay, we're going to show this, and congratulations. Everyone got this right, so I know that you were listening. Okay, good job. Okay, poll 2, where sidewalks, or question 2, where sidewalks are not provided, pedestrians should. What do you think the answer to this is? Do you think you should walk on the shoulder with traffic? Or do you think you should walk on the shoulder against traffic? So if you don't know the answer, just go ahead and click on your best guess. Now this is where sidewalks are not provided, and this is for pedestrians. What should they do? Okay, looks like everyone's in. Let's show the results. Okay, well, most of you got this right. The correct answer is you should walk on the shoulder against traffic. A couple people answered walk on the shoulder with traffic. We'll go over why it is recommended you walk on the shoulder against traffic. Okay, the next question. A pedestrian may not cross between adjacent signalized intersections. Do you think this is true, or do you think this is false? Okay, looks like the votes are coming in. Give you just a few more seconds. Okay, we'll go ahead and show the poll. Okay, well, this was interesting. We had 60% said true and 40% said false. Well, the correct answer for this, in fact, is a pedestrian may not cross between adjacent signalized intersections. Now, this is according to Florida pedestrian law. And so we'll talk a little bit about that, but it's interesting to see that we had a 60-40 split on that. Okay, this goes back to bicyclists. We're going to talk a little bit about bicyclists during our presentation, along with pedestrians. So what do you think the answer to this one is? Bicyclists riding on sidewalks, now this is sidewalk, not a roadway, have the rights and duties of pedestrians, but must yield to pedestrians. Do you think that's true? And that this is all in Florida. I'm talking about Florida here, so states may vary. So bicyclists riding on sidewalks have the rights and duties of pedestrians, but must yield to pedestrians. Okay, looks like all the answers are in. Give you one more second if anyone hasn't voted. Okay, well, those results, we had 87% say true and 12% said false. So a few of you said false. Now, if you look at this statement, bicyclists riding on sidewalks have the rights and duties of pedestrians but must yield to pedestrians. This is indeed true in Florida. Bicyclists do have the rights and duties of pedestrians, but they must yield to pedestrians. And we'll talk about that a little bit later, and if the people who answered false have questions, we can take those at the end. Okay, here's a good one. A pedestrian cannot be ticketed and fined for violating traffic laws. Do you believe this to be true, or do you believe this to be false? Looks like the answers are coming in pretty quickly on this one. Okay. Boy, looks like you all know the answer to this one. False. That is correct. A pedestrian can, in fact, be ticketed and fined for violating traffic laws. And through the presentation, we'll look at some of those fines, what they actually are. Okay, so that ends our pre-test questioning. We do tailor these based on our audience, so sometimes the questions may change, but everyone in the audience did a great job. There was a little bit of answers that we'll talk about on a couple of the questions that were split. Okay, so going back to the presentation, we'll go through what we give. Okay, so you may have seen this article in USA Today I know many of you read USA Today, and this was something that I got a lot of phone calls on. So Florida is recognized as the deadliest state for both walkers and bicyclists. We're working to change this designation and become one of the safest states, and through WalkWise Tampa Bay, this is one of the initiatives that is really working to change that status. Florida has a higher pedestrian fatality rate than other large warm weather states such as California and Texas. Now, this chart shows the pedestrian fatality rate per 100,000 population for some select states. This was based on 2008 statistics. We are, as I had shown you before, we're still #1 in 2009. But the takeaway from this really is, if you look at the orange line going right through the middle there, if Florida was at the national average, there would have been 225 less fatalities. I'm sure many of you have seen the drive safely markers scattered along our Florida roadways. I always read them whenever I stop at a stop sign or light. Many are in memory of people killed while they were walking. They're not just for drivers. These specific markers in the photo are along Fletcher Avenue, just near my office, near the University of South Florida. You can see a photo of Megan Shea. She was a USF student. She was only 19 years old when she was struck and killed while out for a run along Fletcher. So as you can see, the loss from pedestrian crashes and fatalities, it's devastating. It's real. The other marker is another student, another pedestrian, Jessica, that was also killed right there on Fletcher. Okay, we've talked a lot about fatalities, but what about injuries? Injuries when you're a pedestrian or a bicyclist are pretty bad most of the times. So from this graph, you're going to see 4% of all injured persons in traffic crashes are pedestrians. So if you look at this, at the graph, 7,676 pedestrians and 4,376 bicyclists were injured just during 2009, and over 7,000 motorcyclists were also injured. Now, you can see the number is really high for drivers and their passengers on our roadways. So this is significant to know. You hear a lot about fatalities, but injuries, especially for a pedestrian, are pretty devastating. Okay, so we'll go back to fatalities. Now, you saw the percentage for injuries, but however, 18% of all fatalities in traffic crashes are in fact pedestrians. So during 2009, the number was 482, and the number for bicyclists was 99. Our roadways, of course, are also deadly for drivers and their passengers. I mean, look at those numbers. 1,120 drivers and 486 passengers were killed. Now, this information is taken from Florida traffic crash reports. So let's move on. We have fatalities. We're going to look at some of the pedestrian behavior for the fatalities. So just remember, the officer records information regarding the crash, including the behavior of the pedestrian. So these, again, are taken from the traffic crash reports. So of the 482 reported fatalities, the highest number, 232, were crossing outside of an intersection. So they were crossing, this is the way they stated in the traffic report, crossing not at an intersection. So, however, though, if you look at the next one, 65 were killed crossing at an intersection. Next highest, 29 were killed walking with traffic on a roadway. You can look down and see what else was happening. A lot of people ask me, why does it say playing in the roadway? Well, this is for the state of Florida, for all the pedestrian fatalities, and unfortunately, there are some children involved in these fatalities. So standing or playing in a roadway is one of them. We do have other categories, some unknown. Again, these are taken from the police reports. So some of the information to remember about the behavior is that of all the pedestrians killed, 40%, that's pretty high, they have been drinking. So that's the pedestrian themselves had been drinking. 45 to 54-year-olds accounted for 110 of the fatalities, and 338 were male, and 141 were female. So those are just some interesting statistics to keep in mind when you're thinking about the behavior. And this is, again, from 2009, Florida Traffic Crash Statistics Report. Okay, now you know a little bit about what's going on in our state. You know about injuries, fatalities. So I'm going to give you some really important safety steps. These are the WalkWise safety steps, and we have a step for each letter of WalkWise. We're providing these to you on bookmarks and posters. As I go through them, think about it, remember them, carry a bookmark with you, and pass this along to your friends. So W is for wear bright colors or reflective clothing night and day to increase your visibility. The important thing on this slide is see and be seen. You can see that the person crossing the road on the right, she's waving to the driver, she's maintaining eye contact, so you need to see and be seen also. A, see this picture? How many times have we seen somebody texting on the phone as they cross the street, texting or talking on the phone as they cross in a crosswalk? They think they're safe in that crosswalk, but that's not always the case, right? So always be alert. Never text or talk on your phone while crossing a road. L is for look left, right, and left again. How many times have we decided it's safe to step into a crosswalk and someone makes that right-hand turn and they almost hit us? That happens a lot. Now, you can help this out by making eye contact with drivers and just really watch for those cars making right-hand turns. K is for know your surroundings. We talked about our very large streets with multiple lanes and multiple turning lanes. You can see from this photo there's a lot going on. That's on Fowler and McKinley right across the street. So use extra caution when crossing these multi-lane higher speed streets. There's a lot going on, and you as a pedestrian need to be very cautious. W is for watch for cars when walking in parking lots. A lot of injuries are caused from people getting hit in parking lots. I, we talked about the alcohol involvement. Impaired walking, the same as impaired driving, can be dangerous and deadly. S is for stay on sidewalks when available. This lady is crossing, walking into a driveway. She's not looking. She needs to be cautious of cars entering or exiting driveways. We can't see the driver in this very large SUV vehicle. They could be texting, talking on a phone, and not even see her. E, the final one, expect the unexpected. Walk defensively, even if you're in a crosswalk. You never know when that car is going to fail to yield. A lot of injuries are caused this way. So always expect the unexpected when you're out there as a pedestrian. Okay, so those are your WalkWise tips. Wear bright colors or reflective clothing. Always be alert. Look left, right, and left again. Know your surroundings. Watch for cars in parking lots. Impaired walking can be dangerous. Stay on sidewalks and expect the unexpected. So please take your WalkWise bookmarks with you, pass them along, and remember these tips. Okay, we have a few more tips which cover some different topic area. One, we talked about bicyclists. We even had a question on bicyclists, right? So bicyclists on sidewalks, you can ride on sidewalks in Florida, and bicyclists on sidewalks have the rights and duties of pedestrians, but must yield to pedestrians and make an audible sound when passing from behind. So ideally, you should have a bell on your bike, and if you're riding on a sidewalk, you should ring that bell before you pass the pedestrian. The crash risk, however, is greater for cyclists riding against traffic on a sidewalk than riding with traffic on a sidewalk. And sidewalk riding can be a lot more dangerous than roadway riding. Now, legally in Florida, if you're riding your bike with traffic on a roadway, you've got to ride with traffic. That is the law. If you ride against traffic, you're breaking the law. So that's something else to remember. Now, there's an exception to this. Maybe that's why a few of you might have missed this on the quiz, because in certain areas like the downtown district in downtown Tampa, there's an ordinance that bicyclists can't ride on the sidewalks. Generally, you can ride on the sidewalk, but watch out. In certain business areas, you cannot ride on the sidewalk, and you could get a ticket. Okay, have any of you seen the pedestrian flags on Gulf Boulevard? This is part of a pilot project through FDOT District 7 along Gulf Boulevard. And so pedestrian flags are there. Basically what you do is you take the flag out of the holder before you cross, and you use that as you cross the street to become more visible. You still got to look left and right before crossing. It's for added visibility as you cross that street. So if you're down on Gulf Boulevard, try this out. There are multiple locations, and it's a really great program for pedestrians. And that is a pilot program through District 7. Okay, this was one of your questions. Pedestrian, you all got it right though. Pedestrians and motorists can be ticketed and fined. Here's just a little list to give you a view of what your fine could be. They vary from county to county. If you're in Hillsborough and you get a pedestrian ticket, you're going to be paying $49.50. Now, if you're a motorist and you get a ticket, you're going to be paying $151 or even $166 in Pinellas. I talked about how this was just one component of the 4 E's. District 7 also received a really exciting thing. They received a grant from NHTSA. Administrator Strickland came. He visited the Tampa Bay area, And this kicked off a $430,000 grant for law enforcement. Now, this money could only be used for overtime of the officers, but it was for pedestrian and motorist behavior. That was an enforcement component of this overall pedestrian plan. So that was very exciting, and congratulations to District 7 for receiving that grant. You may have seen many news articles about how this has been successful and how they seem to be changing behavior through enforcement. Okay, a few important tips for drivers. We can't forget the drivers. Be alert when it's dark, as most pedestrian fatalities occur at dawn or dusk. In 2009, 65% of pedestrian fatalities in the Tampa Bay area occurred between 6 p.m. and midnight. Now, that's just a 6-hour window. So we do provide some reflective items for you, and we really encourage you to be really alert during the dark time hours. Stop at red lights. Look left, right, left for pedestrians before making right-hand turns. A lot of drivers will not quite stop making their right-hand turn, and all of a sudden there's a pedestrian there, right? So if you're driving, please think about that. Please yield to pedestrians, and please watch for them as you're making your right-hand turn. Also, anticipate crossing difficulties by seniors or pedestrians or persons with disabilities. Sometimes a senior or a person with disabilities may take a little bit longer depending on the terrain, or may take a little longer getting across. We're in Florida, so please be careful and anticipate that it may take a little bit of a longer time to get across. And then finally, never block a crosswalk. That is illegal, or pass cars stopped at crosswalks. How many of you have seen a car pass a car stopped, and the reason they're stopped is for a pedestrian, and the next car almost hits the pedestrian? And of course, a stopped car may be a clue a pedestrian is crossing. Pedestrian crashes in the Tampa Bay area occurred most frequently in urban areas. So, what have you learned? We're going to give you another little quiz. So we're going to test your knowledge and see how you do. I want to see if you were out there listening to me. So we have 4 poll questions. We're going to go ahead and see how you do. Okay, the first one. What percentage of pedestrians killed in Florida during 2009 had been drinking? Okay, go ahead and I hope you all know this. If you don't, take your best guess. Okay. Looks like getting a few people changing. Give you a few more seconds. Okay, we're going to go ahead and show the poll results. Okay, well, most of you got that right. It was 40%. 40% of pedestrians killed in Florida had themselves been drinking. A few got that wrong and went with 10%, but that indeed was 40%. So good job. Most of you got that right. During 2009, more pedestrians were killed while not crossing at an intersection than those crossing at an intersection. Do you believe that this to be true or to be false? So this is, again, because I took the numbers from 2009 Florida statistics, were more pedestrians killed, documented from the police report, not crossing an intersection than those crossing at an intersection. Okay. Give you a few more seconds. Just cast true or false. Okay, congratulations. Most of you listened. Most of you got it right. 91% said true. That is indeed true. Good job. Okay, what percent of all fatalities in Florida traffic crashes during 2009 were pedestrians? So here's another percent for you. What percent of all fatalities in Florida traffic crashes? Now, this is fatalities. Remember, we talked about injuries and we talked about fatalities. So be a little bit careful when you're casting your vote here. This is for fatalities. So what percent of all fatalities during 2009 were pedestrians? Okay. Looks like, let me give you 1, 2, 3 more seconds. Everybody cast their vote. Okay, we're going to go ahead and show them. Wow, okay, a little bit of a mixed review there. The correct answer, well, 56% of you got it right. A little bit of a trick question. It is 18%. 4% was for the injuries. A few of you said 24 and 10, but the correct answer to that was 18. So congratulations to the majority of you who got that right. Okay, when a cyclist rides on a sidewalk, his or her crash risk is higher when riding against traffic or with traffic. Now, this is on a sidewalk. So when a cyclist does ride on a sidewalk, which isn't always recommended, of course, his or her crash risk is higher when riding against traffic or with traffic. Okay, I'll give you a few more seconds. Okay, people are changing their mind there. Okay. Give you one more second to keep your vote. Okay, we're going to show the results. Okay, well, 85% said riding against traffic, that the crash risk is higher when riding against traffic. Of course, that one is the correct answer. It's different for pedestrians and cyclists. A lot of people confuse this. For a bicycle, you want to always ride with traffic. Even if you're on the sidewalk, your crash risk is going to be higher. Okay, so that concludes your final questions. You all did really a great job. You know, I think that we learn when we miss them. So I think that's great. I think all of you are going to remember those percentages if you missed it. So that's one of the reasons we do the interactive portion. Okay, so you've gone through the presentation, and now I'm going to ask you to empower yourself. I'm going to ask you to spread the word about pedestrian safety and take the pledge. Now, this is optional. I hope all of you will take the pledge and repeat after me and become a WalkWise ambassador. When you become a WalkWise ambassador after you take the pledge, it simply means you're going to do what the pledge says. You can have your name posted on our website, as I talked about. Totally up to you. You don't have to. But we're going to ask now that you follow along with me and take this pledge. Okay, I can hear all of you taking it with me. Let's go ahead. Those of you in groups, too, this will be fun for you. Even if you're sitting at your computer, raise your right hand and repeat along with me. I pledge to WalkWise and spread the word about the importance of pedestrian safety to my friends, family, neighbors, colleagues, and others. Congratulations. You are all WalkWise ambassadors, and I put this up on the board. If you want your name listed, because I don't have sign-in sheets of those who want to, just send me an email. It'll come right to my inbox, bond@cutter.usf.edu, and I will put your name on the WalkWise ambassador list. Okay, so as ambassadors, we always ask you to remember the WalkWise safety steps. Pass along your knowledge to a friend. This is a grassroots effort. Let's all start talking about pedestrian safety. We don't want anyone we know to be injured or to be killed on the roadways. Visit WalkWiseTampaBay.com frequently. We have different updates. And, of course, join our WalkWise Facebook discussion. And that concludes the presentation. That is what we go out and provide. It's in a different setting, of course, than live meeting. It's an interactive. We answer questions. We ask questions as we go along. Sometimes we have the audience response system, but that gives you a really good idea of what our presentation involves. And then afterwards, everyone gets a reflective bag, a reflective backpack. They can take any of the information that they'd like. They can hang posters in their offices. And so I hope that gave you a really good idea of what we're doing. I guess, Phil, I'm going to quickly, we have some questions. I'm going to take you through, I wanted to show you the WalkWise photo show. It's very quick, but I wanted to give you an idea of the people that we're meeting, that we're talking to, and hopefully we're touching their lives. So I put together this little photographic journey for you. We've gone through this, what WalkWise is. These are photos from, again, when Administrator Strickland came. He was the first person to see the presentation. Jason Jackman provided that presentation for him, and he actually raised his hand and took the pledge. It was incredible. It was a great day. We go to public spaces. We go to transit riders, senior groups, employers, shelters.
Julie, Phil, this may take a little while for it to load for some people.
Oh, it's not loading, so go a little slower.
I don't know, but you just FYI.
Okay, I'll go a little bit slower. And again, you've got this in your download. Please download it. And it's got a lot of photos, so if it's coming up a little bit, I'll go a little bit slower. We go to colleges. You can see, I believe, Remington College, University of Tampa, USF. We reach all kinds of different student groups. Parents. We've had a lot of requests to go out to different schools, but this program, I should have mentioned, is for adults only. So we found that we do like to go out and talk to parents, and they're always excited for their parent to get a bag and to learn about pedestrian safety. Sometimes children can be our best source of information for the parents if they're really, they tell their parents, don't cross where you shouldn't. Persons with disabilities. Okay, bicyclists. We do a lot of work with different events and different bicycle groups. As you can see, they're all riding down the road there with their reflective backpack. We've had yellow and red. Local government. This is showing you an MPO meeting. I believe that's one of the St. Pete groups. So we go all around to different local governments and provide information. Town hall meetings. This is from I gave a presentation to the FDOT District 7 Town Hall meeting to about 200 people. You can see Secretary Skelton there with his reflective bag. Very good supporters. Great chance to actually talk to the DOT employers and show them what I was doing. Political leaders. You can see, I believe on the top, that's the City of St. Pete Beach. And then the one below is actually the City of Temple Terrace City Council meeting. So we provide this presentation to politicians. Beach communities, that's been a big focus with the flag program. We have specific brochures and posters that we hand out to all the businesses along Beach Boulevard. You can see the flag there. You can see this was at one of the, I believe, the Serrata Hotel for their employees. We gave a presentation. Civic groups, this is a big one for us. We go to Rotary clubs, Kiwanis clubs, all kinds of business clubs are excited to have us give the presentation, and so we reach a really diverse group of individuals that way. Also homeowner groups, that's a big one. We will go and give the presentation to homeowner groups. Typically we have to bring our projector and laptop, but this is actually a really great way, and it gets them talking about their specific issues in their neighborhoods. Communities, we go out, we found that we also go out to a lot of events. We have a board that we take that has the whole presentation on it. We have lots of good handouts. We take people individually through the pledge. You can see on the left, that's again the mayor of Temple Terrace. He was excited to get a reflective bag during one of the events there. We went to a big event, New Year's event at the zoo. So a lot of different ways that we're reaching people. And then we split up with the 3 counties here. These show you some Pasco County events, Pinellas County events. We take our banner that's showing you the Largo Fire and Rescue. That's a hot area right there in Largo, so we've been focusing on really getting the word out to where there have been some recent pedestrian fatalities and injuries. And Hillsborough County events, of course. So those have been another great way to reach people. So anyway, that concludes it. Again, funded by the Florida Department of Transportation, District 7. We're managing it. It's an exciting campaign. It's been fun. It's been a lot of work, but it's really been worth it. So I guess, Phil, do we have some questions?
Yes, we do, Julie. Kind of the first one here, we had a couple questions, a couple comments. So the first question, I think, that might be common to most people is, can WalkWise be replicated in other cities or areas?
Well, that's a really good question. I mean, we started this, about 7 months ago here in District 7. They're very, very good at looking at innovative ways, and this was a great idea that they came up with, and that we've been, working through and providing it. So, I mean, I think it definitely could be, and that could be the next step, that we could look at, offering this statewide or helping people replicate it in their area, because we do have a lot of documentation on what we've gone through and what we've found to work. Like I said, it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, great presenters, but yes, definitely, I think this can be replicated, and it can be replicated successfully. And I know, like in the Miami-Dade area, there's a high number of pedestrian fatalities there. So, yes, I believe this definitely could be replicated.
Yeah. So, in that particular person asking the question was from out of state too.
Oh, okay.
And I would just suggest that they contact you directly.
Sure. To
get some of that advice and share it. I guess that we would certainly like to see more communities undertake such type programs.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think you made this comment earlier, Julie, but just to reinforce it, we had a comment somebody made in the state of California. Local municipalities, hold the rights to govern how bicycles may be used on local sidewalks. For example, the city of Irvine allows bicycling on sidewalks except in playgrounds and parks, unless it's a designated bike path. conversely, bicycling on a sidewalk is not allowed on the University of California Irvine campus.
Sure, and that's true. And we talked about how in many business districts you cannot ride. For example, the city of Tampa, you definitely cannot ride your bicycle on those sidewalks because there's a lot of pedestrians walking there. I lived in Manhattan for a year a couple years ago. Definitely don't want to ride your bicycle on those sidewalks because if you do, I saw what happened to people who would ride their bicycles. I mean, the police are there and they will definitely ticket and get you off those sidewalks. So yes, you need to be aware that there are exceptions to that. Generally in Florida, you can ride them on sidewalks. In other states, not true.
Yep, that's true. I guess going back to the issue of making it transferable, obviously tailoring it to your state and local laws is certainly in data. Of course, we need to update. Another kind of good question here, follow-up question is, how do you, in your cohorts, when you're out there doing these presentations, keep the discussions constructive in the sense they don't turn into gripe sessions?
Well, yes, and that can happen. And again, in our Train the Trainer sessions, we've gone through that, and we have some different strategies that we use, and each of the presenters have a little bit different type of personality or how they deal with people. But if some people will tend to, like you said, gripe, you just need to just turn that around. We've been very successful in keeping the presentations positive. Like I'm almost really surprised how positive they have been, because it does get people talking about what has happened to them. Of course, in most of the sessions, it's pedestrian safety. Almost probably, depending on where you go, most of the people are also driving, right? They're a pedestrian and they drive a car. Some people don't own cars, but a majority of the people we're talking to are both, right? So it just becomes a very interesting, entertaining. We have tools to kind of turn the subject matter around if somebody does try to get going off, on a different subject. But that really is the skill of the presenter. They really know how to make these sessions good. Okay. With any presentation, it takes a skill, and we just turn those around.
I guess probably time for maybe two more questions. Are other FDOT districts taking this project on, or if not, would they fund this type of project?
To my knowledge right now, this is the first program of this type. Even nationally, Hawaii had a WalkWise campaign, but it was not the same as ours. So right now in Florida, though, District 7 is the only district that is funding and utilizing WalkWise Tampa Bay. So I don't know if other districts would in fact do that. That would be a question that you would need to ask them. I can't answer for them, but just for your knowledge, District 7 has taken the lead on this. They're very innovative, and they are the only ones statewide that have the WalkWise program.
Okay, Julie, kind of last question of how are you going to evaluate the success of the program, or how is Florida DOT going to evaluate the success of the program?
Okay, and that's another good question. As I talked about, this is a grassroots effort, and our goals are to give the 400 presentations, minimum 400 presentations to a minimum of 4,000 people. And so, again, it's just one component of the overall plan. FDOT does a continuous evaluation of their projects and of the fatalities and crashes. So we're just one component that's going to go into their overall evaluation of what happens with injuries and fatalities. We're watching that closely. Of course, it takes time. We've only started doing this, as I said, heavily in about September. We really started going after we got the contract in place, created all the materials. So it's basically pretty new, but we're one component. FDOT does continuous evaluation on what's going on. We get reports on the injuries, the fatalities, and we look at where those corridors are and how we really need to do something about the high crash. So it's a continuous evaluation process, and we're just one component, but we are meeting our specific goals that were set forth in this WalkWise campaign.
Okay. Well, I thank you, Julie, for your presentation today, and for the audience, I'd like to point out our next webcast like this will be April 21st, 2 weeks from today. It'll be featuring Karen Segerman and Christine Williams, who will be talking about mobility planning strategies and concepts. Basically, same link that you used today, same phone number you used today. You do not need to pre-register, and if you're on our email list, you'll get a notice the Monday before, so you can remind yourself. So we hope you'll join us for that. And before we close, we'd like to, of course, pull up a little brief evaluation that we can use to help assess today's topic and presentation, as well as maybe get some ideas of what you'd like to hear in the future. And with that, on behalf of the Center for Urban Transportation Research at the University of South Florida, I'd like to thank you for attending, and everybody have a great day.
Thank you, everyone.